Welcome to a new Daily Top Askreddit video. Today's topic. Albert Einstein once said if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid. What was your moment when someone judged you like that? I lived in Argentina, from us, for a little bit as a kid. At a parent-teacher conference early in the school year. One art teacher had to break it to my parents that I might be mentally disabled because I don't respond or participate. They let her know I didn't speak any Spanish, at the time. She had no idea because NOONE told her and my name is Spanish and it just didn't occur to her. Teacher, I think your child might be mentally challenged. Parent, no, he's just American. Teacher, creo que su hijo podría tener problemas mentales. Parent, what? Currently at I am in France for a few months, I can barely speak French and my teachers think I am mentally challenged. Even though I was acing my classes back home. Even when you become fluent they'll still think you're challenged. Source, lived in France for years. Edit, I just want to clarify that I loved living in France, and made many great friends and memories there. My experience was overwhelmingly positive and I consider it a second mother country. As I posted in a reply below. To be fair, with my friends and colleagues this was never an issue. It was probably about 25% of the time and exclusively with strangers or workers at shops, who would immediately switch to English the moment I hesitated or accidentally used poor pronunciation. I should also mention that it happened a lot more when I lived in Paris than when I lived in Lyon. The worst was actually whenever I visited Geneva. Edit 2, this. Judged the country kids in my English class for being dumb fucks, until I did an autos class. What I found incomprehensible, they could do with ease. I had become the dumb fuck. Respect the fact that you admitted you were the one judging people. For real. This world would be a much better place if more people could admit their own mistakes such as these and grow from the experience. As someone who has lived life in and out of a city and rural land, I have acquired more skills than staying in one comfort zone would have. Exposure to the material and having to learn teaches a lot. Edit, I made a typo, people decided to nitpick it. 100% this. I've learned to code and learned to use a wrench. They are both difficult and it's hard for a person who has only done one to wrap his head around the other. Everyone should try and learn as much as possible in their life, really expands your perspective. Edit, https://wikipedia.org/wiki/idiom. Once someone on Reddit started complag about something and said I wasn't a real man for a bunch of reasons. I'm a woman, so they're not exactly wrong. I get that all the time too. My personal favorite was when I said it's difficult to date lesbians. It's a common issue with women that they were taught men should make the first move, so with two girls no one wants to move first. Everyone assumed I was a dude harassing lesbians and trying to make them straight, which is why they wouldn't go out with me. Made the comment before going to work and I had -200 by lunch. Elmeo, you're my hero. No man can kill me. I am no man. The time my middle school art teacher called my parents because she thought I was purposefully mocking her by making my art bad. I literally can't draw beyond a 3rd grade level unless I am copying an object right in front me. My parents basically cussed her out after they saw how hurt I was. Has she really experienced such vindictive kids? Yeah, she raised them herself. When I was in the Navy I used to get in fairly frequent trouble for the suggestions I made for improving operational efficiencies. As an outside contractor they were quite happy to pay me $200 an hour to say the exact same thing. Personal change must come from within. Organizational change must come from without. Loose change must come from the pocket. The Fortune 500 company I freelance with would prefer to use an outside vendor for a project, thinking they would do a better job since that's all they do. That vendor then hires me at my same rate, meaning the original company is just paying more for me to do the work I could have done internally. Moral of the story, if you charge more people will think you're worth more. A $6 bottle of wine may be better than a $45 bottle, but most people will say the $45 bottle must be better because why else would it be $45? That reminds me of this one thing I saw where someone started selling their art, but they had low prices in the hopes people would be willing to buy since it wouldn't cost much. They were struggling to make sales and looking for advice and someone said to raise the prices, for the same pieces, from like $10 to $50. And it actually worked. Human psychology is nuts. When I said Albert Einstein once said if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree it will live its whole life thinking it's stupid, and they said he never said that. Edit, yay I'm that guy big whoop wanna fight about it. Thanks for my first ever gold kind stranger. Yes, it's a quote by Vladimir Lehy and it actually says, if you judge proletariat by its ability to amass property and capital, the proletariat will always end up admiring the extraordinary talent of the capitalists rather than realizing it is being oppressed. I am the walrus. I didn't say that about the stupid fish climbing trees. Einstein. I didn't kill myself. J. Epstein. In school I was too nerdy for the jocks and too jockish for the nerds. Now that we have all grown up I take everyone's money in fantasy football. Improvise, adapt, overcome. Smart moves, my friend. Improvise, adapt, overcome, profit. FTFY. When our at a company had me interview for a different position than I had applied for. The position they interviewed me for was one I knew nothing about, and told them as much. Despite me telling them before each round of interviews that they had made a mistake, I still had to endure a full day of people asking me questions that I had no answer to. Oof. Sounds like you dodged a bullet though if our was that incompetent. Plot twist he got the job. They had someone in mind but needed to interview someone objectively worse than their preferred person so it didn't look like favoritism. I hadn't considered that angle. However, they flew me in, picked me up in a black car, put me up in a nice hotel. Would be a hell of a play if true. Playing sports growing up I would make these comically bad errors. The ball would hit me directly in the face or I would swing at a pitch way too late. Everyone gave me shit, even the coaches and parents. I kept playing because I enjoyed being active and around my friends, but I never understood why no matter how much I practiced I struggled with basic things that everyone else could do without thinking. I go to the eye doctor as an adult, and he tells me that I have a condition in one of my eyes that means I don't have binocular vision and as a result have very poor depth perception. It's physically impossible for me to track a moving object in space like everyone else. I know the pain, mate. Was forced to play volleyball in high school though I obviously couldn't follow the ball. I was once looking right at it but couldn't spot it, and it hit me right in the face. Turns out I have a retinitis pigmentosa, which not only means I can't follow objects, but I can't see at night. My peripheral vision sucks, and anything that requires precision movement is out of the question. Thankfully I'm great in other fields that do not require good eye coordination. I was the fish trying, and failing, to climb the tree, and my boss called to offer me a position swimming. That time my boss called me to tell me I sucked at my job, but followed it up by telling me I got crazy good comments about this one small part of my job, so would I like to do that full time. Did the new thing for 6 years and used it to land another, even better, position at the same company. Thanks for recognizing my talents, old boss. You were a bit of a shit boss, but when it mattered you really were a help. Edit, since so many are asking, here's actual detail. Moved from software implementation, which had a bit of a teaching component to it, to formally teaching how to use the software. Have since moved into writing the content that is taught. How, shitting on and appreciating your boss. It was really a win-win situation. He got me off his team and I got to do something I didn't dread and was actually pretty good at. He was still a crap boss the rest of the time. Once at my workplace, I asked for help to open a box because I really couldn't open it. This one girl I worked with looked at me with disgust and didn't help me. She later talked shit about me and said I'm fucking stupid. I was born with polydactyly and they cut off my 2 extra fingers and fixed a lot of stuff. I can't use all my fingers properly. By the way, fuck you Sarah. Edit, wow, I never thought that a comment about calling out Sarah's bullshit would be my most upvoted one, nor that it would blow up like that. Thank you, kind strangers. I have a feeling those last few sentences should have been your response. My fingers don't work, also fuck you. But if they did I'd be flipping you off. 90% of what Albert Einstein quotes on the internet was not said by Albert Einstein. Internet 2019. Albert Einstein once said 90% of my quotes on the internet were not said by me. 90% of statistics aren't true. USMC judges you on your ability to run. No matter how good or bad you are at anything, if you can run fast, you are presumed better at everything. It overcomes crimes, mental retardation, and absolute stupidity. That's how the army is. When I first came in, my push-ups and sit-ups sucked ass and I borderline failed my pint tests. But when my drill sergeants and chain of command saw my 12:10 2-mile run time, my dad has trained me to be a distance runner since I was a little kid. They all left me alone, and once I started putting on muscle in addition to the run time, I was able to get away with so much shit and get out of so many details. It's easier to add strength than it is to add endurance and conditioning to a young man. Also, a soldier who can run for hours has a longer lifespan than one who can do 100 sit-ups. Yeah, that's dumb. I don't see how that correlates with your ability to eat crayons. The fastest Marine gets his pick of the crayon box. That's cause if you're a Marine, you have a lot of retreating and escaping to do, getting out of the way of Army or Navy shelling. See, Air Force don't have to worry about that. They're 250 miles back in their air-conditioned shipping containers.